Two of the most dangerous shooters of this era, one already crowned as basketball royalty, the other rapidly taking over her own court, are now connected in a way that goes far beyond simple admiration. Caitlin Clark has said for years that Stephen Curry is her blueprint, the player who showed her that pulling up from the logo wasn't crazy, it was lethal. But what started as a one-way inspiration has turned into a real relationship built on respect, public support, and even some surprisingly emotional fallout behind the scenes of the sneaker world. On one side, you have Curry, the Golden State Warriors legend whose three-point range reshaped the entire NBA. On the other, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever guard who brought that same fearless shooting to the women's game, dragging defenders out to 30 feet and setting records as a rookie. Their paths might be in different leagues, but the overlap is impossible to miss. He's praised her game publicly, she's studied his every move, and when he went through his brief sneaker-free agency and was no longer tied to a single brand, he even laced up her Player Edition Kobe 6 Protros in a game, a subtle but powerful signal that he sees her as the next great sharpshooter carrying the torch. That mutual respect was on full display again after a rough night in Charlotte. The Warriors had just dropped a game to the Hornets, and the conversation afterward wasn't just about the final score. NBC Sports Bay Area shared a clip on TikTok where Curry calmly described what he just dealt with, almost non-stop grabbing, holding, and face-guarding from defenders who seemed more interested in preventing him from even touching the ball than in playing honest on-ball defense. He talked about having players attached to him well away from the action, turning simple cuts into battles, and turning possessions into wrestling matches instead of real basketball. The video hit social media like wildfire. NBA fans are used to seeing teams send multiple bodies at Steph, but this was something else. Organized chaos designed to keep him out of the offense entirely, and that's when Caitlin Clark jumped in, saying exactly what a lot of people were already thinking. Responding to what she'd seen, Clark sided firmly with Curry. She called out just how excessive the physical defense had become and spoke up for what fans actually want to see. Her message was half joking, half serious. People tune in to watch one of the greatest shooters ever do what he does best, not to watch him get grabbed all night. She spelled it out clearly, saying she wants to see him knocking down double-digit threes and beg defenders to stop clutching at him before the ball even arrives. It was a playful plea, but it carried weight. When a star from another league steps in to defend you like that, it shows more than just fandom. It shows understanding. Clark knows exactly what it feels like when the game plan is built entirely around taking you away. Curry himself has been open about how strange it feels at times. He said that the stuff he faces doesn't always resemble the sport he grew up playing. At the same time, he admits there's a certain twisted compliment baked into it. You have to be incredibly dangerous for teams to go that far just to bother you. He's talked about how surreal it can be to watch the film and see how aggressive and egregious it gets, and how much attention he commands just by stepping across half court. Those comments could just as easily come out of Caitlin Clark's mouth, from her final seasons at Iowa straight into her first WNBA year with the Indiana Fever. She's seen every kind of coverage a guard can face. Box and one looks, traps 30 feet from the hoop, defenders glued to her sideline to sideline, all to stop her even thinking about letting it fly. And yet, despite that constant pressure, she still broke the record for most three-pointers ever made by a WNBA rookie in a single season. She didn't just survive the attention, she punished it. So when she speaks up for Curry after that Hornets game, she's not just defending a hero, she's defending the right of elite shooters to actually show what they can do, without the game turning into a series of off-ball grabs and holds. For fans of both the NBA and WNBA, it was a moment where two eras of long-range royalty lined up on the same side of the argument. Clark's fascination with Curry's skill set doesn't stop at analyzing game film. In December, when he came back from a 5-game absence to play against the Minnesota Timberwolves, cameras caught one of those pre-game moments that only Steph could pull off. Standing near the tunnel, almost at full court distance, he casually launched a deep trick shot during warm-ups and drilled it like it was nothing. The clip instantly went viral. Clark saw it and couldn't help but react. She shared the video and joked that it didn't even look real, underscoring again how even another world-class shooter can still be stunned by what he does. For someone who has hit logo threes in sold-out arenas with the game on the line, to look at another player and basically say that's ridiculous tells you just how rare Curry's talent is. But the connection between them goes much deeper than highlight reactions and message board admiration. It's wrapped up in business decisions, branding, and a sneaker battle that pulled both of their names into the same room and, according to several reports, left some hurt feelings when it was all over. For years, Curry was synonymous with Under Armour. His signature shoes, his logo, and his partnership turned him into the face of the company's basketball line. Meanwhile, as Caitlin Clark exploded at Iowa and then jumped to the WNBA, sneaker brands lined up for a chance to sign her. Everyone could see where this was headed. A generational shooter on the men's side and a generational shooter on the women's side ending up under the same brand umbrella would have been a marketer's dream. Under Armour went in with a serious offer, reportedly 4 years and $16 million on the table. That number was higher than what Adidas was willing to put forward. The problem? It still paled in comparison to what Nike was offering. Nike's bid, according to reports, was an 8-year, $28 million deal. Twice the length, significantly more money, and the kind of long-term commitment that says we're building a major part of our future around you. Curry, fully aware of what it would mean to bring Caitlin into the Under Armour family, didn't stay on the sidelines. He's said to have actively pushed for her, talking to executives and even getting on FaceTime with Clark herself to sell the idea. Picture that for a moment. You grow up idolizing a player, patterning your game after him, and then one day that same player is on your screen saying, "Join me, let's build something together." But admiration and relationships don't pay the bills or protect careers. She had to look at everything on the table: the length of the deals, the dollars involved, the infrastructure behind each brand, and how they'd position her in the broader sports world. In the end, the numbers and the vision from Nike were simply too strong to ignore. She chose the offer that gave her the most security and the most reach. Under Armour's pitch, while respectable, didn't match up. And when she walked away, that wasn't just a missed signing for the company. For someone in Curry's position, it felt like a sign that the people he'd worked with for so long weren't willing to push as hard as they needed to for the next version of what he represented. By November 2025, Curry and Under Armour had officially parted ways. He entered a rare phase in his career where he wasn't tied to a single sneaker sponsor. During that time, he experimented with different shoes, including, notably, Caitlin Clark's Player Edition Kobe 6 Protros. That moment spoke volumes. Even without an official brand aligning them, he chose to wear her personalized colorway on the court, essentially spotlighting her in front of millions. Reports from people close to the situation have linked Clark's negotiations and eventual decision to sign with Nike as one factor in Curry's growing frustration with Under Armour. It wasn't the only issue, but it clearly stung. He had advocated for her, made it clear how important she would be to the company's future, and watched the brand fall short in the decisive moment. From his perspective, this wasn't just a recruiting miss, it was a warning sign. If they couldn't close the deal on the player most compared to him, what did that say about their commitment to staying at the top of the basketball market? And if you're Steph Curry, with your legacy already secure, you're not going to waste the final years of your prime tethered to a company you don't fully trust to match your vision. On Caitlin's side, there's no indication of any bad blood. She did what every athlete is advised to do. She took the deal that made the most sense for her. She didn't sign up to fix a brand's internal strategy. She weighed the options, chose Nike, and moved on. But the ripple effect of that decision, especially given how personally invested Curry reportedly was, shows just how intertwined their paths had become, even without playing a minute in the same league. So, when you look at the full picture now, it's not just a cute narrative of a young WNBA star admiring an NBA icon. You've got a layered relationship built on shared experience, mutual respect, and real-world business consequences. She speaks up when he's being smothered by defenses and says the product is suffering. He laces up her special edition shoe when he's free to wear anything. They both know what it is to be the kind of shooter who breaks the geometry of the floor and forces teams into desperate strategies. There's also a symbolic passing of the torch here. Curry changed the way the game is played at the highest level, and Caitlin Clark is doing something very similar, not as a copy, but as her own kind of long-range queen, dragging defenses out into uncomfortable territory. Watching them acknowledge each other, support each other, and bump into each other's worlds from social media to sneaker deals feels like watching two chapters of the same basketball history book overlap. For fans, especially those who follow both the NBA and WNBA closely, it's a fascinating dynamic. It proves that influence doesn't move in just one direction. The women's game is not simply responding to trends set in the men's game anymore. It's part of the same conversation, shaping deals, shaping branding, and shaping how stars relate to one another across leagues. Caitlin Clark defending Stephen Curry after a bruising night in Charlotte. Stephen Curry putting on Caitlin Clark's Player Edition shoes during his own sneaker crossroads. And a major brand losing both a current legend and a future superstar in the same chapter. All of it paints a picture of how tightly connected today's basketball royalty really is. And the most intriguing part is that both of them are still very active. Curry is still knocking down impossible shots and warping defenses. Caitlin is still rewriting what a rookie can do from deep in the WNBA. As their careers continue, don't be surprised if their paths cross even more in sponsorships, joint projects, appearances, and more moments where one steps in publicly to stand up for the other. Because at this point, it's clear, this is no longer just a fan and her hero, it's a partnership of influence built on long-range shooting, shared battles with hyper-physical defenses, and a mutual understanding of what it means to carry the expectations of being the face of your game.